The Last Kingdom Season 4 was awesome as always. What a great show. Let's reflect on the journey of these amazing characters. Season 4 had 4 main plots: the Siege of Bebbanburg, the Battle of Tettenhall, the Empty Throne of Mercia, and the Empty Throne of Wessex. Let's start with the Siege of Bebbanburg. Lord Aelfric fought Scots outside the walls of Bebbanburg, far outside the walls, which was a nod to the reoccurring theme, Empty Thrones. Aidan told Aelfric that they lost over half their men. They would need to buy more forces to hold Bebbanburg, and lo and behold, Uhtred's buddies were there as well, checking in on the status of Bebbanburg. Meanwhile, Uhtred was down at his Wessex estate in Cookham with Ethelfled, but Aldhelm interrupted a good time to tell Ethelfled that her husband, Ethelred, has noted her absence. Uhtred said that he would fight for her, but the safety and stability of Mercia was more important to Ethelfled than her own happiness, so she left Uhtred and rode south to Winchester so as to console her mother. Uhtred's boys then arrived with the good word that Bebbanburg was ripe for the taking. But Uhtred would need men to do so, so he rode from his Wessex estate in Cookham to Winchester to request support from Edward. Uhtred assumed that he and Edward had a common goal. He had assumed that Edward would want Uhtred to retake Bebbanburg in order to get one step closer to Alfred's goal of uniting all of England. But Edward was focused on the defense of Wessex. That was his key priority, so Edward denied Uhtred any troops. Nevertheless, Uhtred would still make a play on Bebbanburg. In Mercia, Ethelred longed to gain power so that he'd be considered Edward's equal. One way that he sought to do so was by collecting all the relics of St. Oswald to put him back together as an omen for the Mercian people. And Ethelred needed just one more piece, Oswald's heart. So he sent 2 monks north to Bebbanburg to buy it from Aelfric. Back in Winchester, Hild told Uhtred to meet Ethelfled in the gardens, and Ethelfled told Uhtred about the 2 monks. Uhtred would later factor this into his plans. He asked Beocca and Hild to join him, but they said that their fighting days were done. Instead, Hild gave Uhtred a silver cross, which he could use for bribes. Uhtred ends up using the cross later in the story, but for something much more important. Uhtred then left Winchester and rode to St. Wilfrid's church and effectively kidnapped his son Uhtred, just as he himself was torn from the life that he was living as a kid and forced to learn new ways. Uhtred tore young Uhtred away from the life of the church in an attempt to make him a warrior. Before they sailed off, Beocca arrived, as he had been basically foolishly pushed aside by Lady Aelswith. Then, they sailed north to retake Bebbanburg.
To Bebbanburg! Destiny is all.
Meanwhile, Uhtred's cousin and Aelfric's son, Witgar, who everyone had assumed to be dead, returned to Bebbanburg with seasoned warriors. On their way north, Uhtred pit stopped at Grimsby, Northumbria, and devised a plan to infiltrate Bebbanburg. Young Uhtred would join 2 monks, make his way inside Bebbanburg, give a signal, and then open the gate for Uhtred. Unfortunately, Witgar caught on to him and captured him. Young Uhtred found himself fighting for his life. Meanwhile, Uhtred and his men got inside anyway, and they quickly took Aelfric hostage. Unfortunately, Witgar didn't care. In fact, he shot Aelfric himself, making him the new ruler of Bebbanburg. And unlike his father, Witgar would not make the mistake of leaving Uhtred or his heirs alive. So Witgar shot a bolt at young Uhtred, but Beocca slid over into the way, sacrificing himself for young Uhtred. They then fled. They barely escaped alive. Uhtred was a broken man. The attempt to retake Bebbanburg had failed. Their ship broke up, they swam to shore, and more importantly, Uhtred lost Beocca due to his hastiness.
His death is on my hands. I've failed him. No.
This was a lesson that Uhtred would carry with him going forward. And in honor of Beocca, Uhtred buried the silver cross that Hild had given him. Destiny is all.